What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at a curious boss hunting, Monster Hunter inspired game called Tarnished Blood. This game is currently in early access, and I've been having a little bit of fun with it today. I've actually enjoyed what I've seen over the last couple hours of playing it, so we're going to take a look at it, and I'm going to give you my first impressions. If after watching this you wanted to get the game for yourself, I got a link for you down below in the description. You can check it out there. You can also find a link to my Twitch stream and my Discord, just in case you wanted to hang out live. But this is one of those games that really caught me by surprise. Time kind of disappeared while I was fooling around with it. So here we are inside of our village, about to head out on our first hunt, which you just saw in the intro. I decided to splice that on in right there because, you know, nobody likes to open up on a stiff screen like this. But inside your village, you can use the monster parts that you've harvested in order to get yourself new gear. There's even a sex hut, just in case you wanted to make more people for your party or whatever else. But for right now, I think it's a really good idea if we just jump straight on into a fight so that I can explain to you why this game is so interesting. So Maltagor, in my opinion, is probably one of the easiest starting bosses to go up against. I would definitely recommend farming Maltagor a little bit until you've got everybody's armor up to a 10 or 11 so that they can take a hit, just because you can kind of get smoked. So let's embark. Upon embarking with our party right here, who I already selected at the beginning, we've got 2 spearmen, we've got an archer, and we've got a swordsman. You're going to have 3 events that are going to take you up to the boss, and these are all going to include dice rolls and things that you have to do in order to get through. They're indicated in terms of their difficulty by a mouse over that you can do over on this side. All kinds of terrible things can happen to you out in the middle of the world. This is definitely a super grimdark universe where it's like the land of the lost. Everything outside your city is trying to murder you, slice you up, impregnate you. There's a definite sort of like Warhammer tone to this game, despite the cutesy aesthetic of the characters, where like really, really bad stuff can happen to your characters and shatter their minds before you even get to the monster. A lot of times the monster, it's a big threat, but the stuff that happens along the way can be kind of scary too. And an abandoned land marked by desolation, now reduced to ruins and haunted by the specters of tragic history. So since this is long text right here, basically we found a gold orb in the middle of the desert being held by a skeletal hand. A giant cobra came and ate the hand and says, "You have found the core. Now it is time for your reward. 2 wishes, no fewer, no more. But be wary the way of greed and of false humility." What is it that you seek? We can get fertility or we can get justice. Let's try justice. You always make a D10 roll. Your characters have stats that determine how many rerolls and how many +1s you get. We rolled a 9 on a 5 difficulty, so that's good. The cobra encircles the hunters and its scales begin to glow. As it was burrowing itself in the sand, the hunters felt something has changed. We got an obsidian scrap that's used for upgrading buildings back in town, and so we made it out of our first event without anything terrible happening to us. Let's go into the Whispering Bramble, I suppose. Surrounded by spiky mountains, a beautiful oasis warmly welcomes the group of weary hunters. Exotic trees bearing ripe and juicy fruits, crystal clear water, and tiny rainbow-feathered birds chirping softly helped everyone relax and prepare for the difficult hike. As they were leaving, Pressfiend noticed a perfect circle of blooming crescents with a faint protective energy emanating from the middle. Let's analyze the circle, maybe? Do I not have at least 1 intelligence? Okay, all my guys are stupid right now because I haven't trained them at all. So I guess we'll just go for enter the circle. We gotta roll a 6. We rolled a 7. Not too bad. I'll take it. Our dice seem to be hot right now. The crescents light up as the hunters enter the circle. Tiny sparkles flowing up into the air as they leave the oasis. Some of them felt magic from within. Helene and Zayden have gotten themselves +1 luck. That's good for us. That's really, really good for us. Because luck is going to set the threshold for the maximum damage we can do to the monsters. So, and it's on our archer too, which is really good. Because I've found my archer to be my principal damage dealer and like just all around useful guy the entire time I've been playing the game. Let's go for the Never-Ending Lake might be a little bit difficult, but we'll try the Never-Ending Lake. The party approaches a mud formation resembling a piece of art left behind by an ancient civilization. Delicate lines carved in soft soil show faces trembling in fear as if they were crammed in a boiling hot pit of lava, dissolving into a bloody ooze reeking of burnt hair and singed flesh. Suddenly, the formation moves, and the hunters see a huge mud demon, covered in ripped-off faces of its previous prey, their eyelids sewn shut and mud constantly spewing from their opened mouths. The hunters knew a long battle was inevitable, but maybe they could outrun the monster. Now we fight. Faced with the looming menace of the Mud Demon, the hunters find themselves at a crossroads. A palpable tension fills the air as they deliberate on their next move. We can set a trap for it, or we can just smash it. Let's just smash it. I'm all about that life. Go ahead and roll for me. We rolled a 3. I'm gonna re-roll because we're on like we're on our last event anyways, and then I'm gonna use both my +1s to get me there. I think I only needed to use 1. Covered in clay, the hunters stand victorious, surrounded by scraps of mud faces, slowly drying in the wind. While they were passing the final lump of the demon's body, they noticed a noticeably harder piece sticking out of the sludge. Upon further inspection, they discovered a piece of armor made of the living mud. So Press Fiend just got +1 to strength, which is great. That's going to help him hit harder. And then we also got some mud mail, which is huge because this is going to give us +5 to our armor. We'll talk about what that means once we get a little bit further on into the game. I'm going to put the mud mail on her, and that'll have to do for right now, I think. All right, let's dive on out of there, and we continue. So into the fight against Maltagor. So basically the way that this game's combat works is that if you ever played a game called Phantom Brigade, it's very, very similar and very dynamic compared to that. And so for right now, we've got a timeline along the bottom of the screen that's going to tell us what's going to happen in this turn if we don't move. So we've got one character gets eaten, the other character gets tongue licked, and then this guy gets smashed with a tail. So we need to set up what everyone's going to do in order to escape from this problem. I want my spear over here, and the spear has a gimmick. If you're able to strike very specific spots on the enemy, that's the only way that the spear can deal damage. It has to hit one of these slots. You really have no choice, otherwise it deals 1 damage. And so your spears are frequently sort of like left in the lurch when it comes to positioning, but they do have an opportunity to deal enormous damage. Now, Maltagor has 4 HP. Every single time we break apart on the monster, he loses the amount of hearts that are indicated. If we get him down to 0 hearts, he dies. We get a whole bunch of parts that we can use to make gear. We go back to town. Now, each of our characters has a couple different things you need to be aware of as we go into combat. So, in the case, for example, of Press Fiend, you have 7 toughness. That's how much damage you can take before your armor shatters and you die instantly. And then you need to be revived back in town, and you get a whole bunch of permanent wounds that have to be removed. It takes a long time to get rid of them. It's kind of a pain in the ass. And so in general in this game, you want to plot out your turns very, very carefully. So with 7 armor, we should be in decent shape there. So the first thing that we need to do, let's start with the character that's got to deal with a tail sweep over here, because I don't know exactly how that's going to move. Now, every character has a move, a jump, an extra ability like an attack by default. They also have the dig in ability, which means that you can actually stick to the walls like Mega Man and Mega Man X and fire at the enemy from there as well. But that's a special thing you've got to get. The bow also has a gimmick. The bow wants you to be in the air as much as possible, because while you're in the air, if you can fire your shot while your character is on top of one of these outcomes right here, it works out pretty well for you. Now, we don't want this character to end up in front of the tail lick, so that jump is going to take them over to there. Still going to get bopped. That's a very, very generous hitbox right there. I don't see the tail actually coming into contact with the character, so definitely an opportunity to tighten up hitboxes right there. All right, well, let's reconfigure it until we get ourselves to a happy place. It looks like that'll work, but we won't get the bonus from shooting right there, unfortunately. And we definitely want to get the bonus from shooting. Were I to jump straight up in the air, like so, would I avoid the damage? I would. So we can take a yellow shot from right there. It's not going to do as much damage as the red shot, but if you look at the timeline, it also means we're probably not going to get hit. Now, the timeline can be a little bit deceitful in this game. It kind of fills in the area. You want to pay attention to this blue point. That's when you're going to land if you confirm this on the ground and be available for another action. Sometimes the enemy mob has an attack that's like right at the beginning of the next turn, and so you usually don't want your landing to be like in the ending section of the timeline if you can help it, because it can put you in a bad spot. But now as this guy jumps up, we're gonna go to right there, and he's gonna fire a shot at the tail for 3 to 12 damage. That sounds perfecto. So go ahead and fire that shot and we'll finalize it. And now we need to work on our other characters. So I have Reyna over here. Where does that attack go off from? It goes off right there. Okay, so we're also going to strong jump right here. And we're going to try to hit the tail. And so we're going to confirm that on in because there's no damage on the timeline that we have to worry about. We're going to get her lined up with the jump. And right when she gets to that critical damage point, we're going to have her stab this guy in the tail with the spear. It's only 2 damage, but it's something supplementary to help out and kind of get us moving. There is no cleaving in this game from what I've seen so far. You sort of like always hit the thing that comes first, and that becomes important later on. Once there's sort of like projectiles that you can anime style deflect and knock back at the enemy and stuff like that. But this is a fairly simple battle for right now. We do have a critical hit point right there, and I would like to go for it, but if I go for it, she's going to get hit by the tail right there. Okay, maybe I can strong jump out like so. That's still going to catch the tail. So maybe we go for something like a little bit less in the range of the tail. How's that going to work out when we preview it? So she's going to jump over to there. She's going to miss the tail swipe. Okay, good. So right here, we want to confirm this. And, oh yeah, there's another gimmick. So you see this shadow right here? This shadow moves up, and you can no longer undo things once the shadow has moved up. So up until this shadow overlays one of these things on the timeline, you can kind of like move it around and change it around if you want, and I think you can cancel it. Yeah, you can cancel it out entirely if you desire to do so right there. But now that I've got everybody reset back to what they were doing, I need a spear stab right here on this guy's head. That would be hugely helpful because the head has a double HP. So if we can break the... Oh, no, the tongue has double HP. Okay, so we want to kind of watch out for the tongue. Is this guy still going to try to tongue lash? He is, but in like an opposite direction to where we're trying to go. So once he flips around right there with my sword guy, I would like to jump. He's getting a little bit too much altitude right there, I think. So maybe something like that right there. And he's going to attack the tail tip too, because the tail tip, I think it disables an ability or something like that if we take off the tail tip. So he's going to jump up to right there. And then we are going to attack the tail whip right there, just to get rid of it, and that should be our turn. And you just saw the first turn of this game. Yes, people still have action points, so you've got a limited number of movement points, and you've also got a limited number of attacks that you can do, but there's special equipment and things of that nature that you can get that'll increase your chance of actually accomplishing the thing that you want to accomplish. Good cut right there, but if he decides to dive right now, we're all going to get smoked. And he's going to do a claw. Okay, that's fine. Claw's fine. So I need you to jump out to, like, there. That's only going to use up one of her movement points, which is great. We'll confirm that for right now because he's not trying to do anything else. We're going to get the big hit on his head right there for 4 to 6 damage, and we're just going to confirm that. And honestly, I might use this as a turn to knock out the head entirely. That might be kind of what I'm leaning towards right now. So what are you going to do? So the head has a lot of HP left. All right, you do something similar. You've got a critical hit spot right there. So jump for the critical hit spot if you can. And get out of the way of the arm swipe. Once you're on top of that, we get the bonus damage. 11 to 20 damage right there. Hell yeah, I'll take that. That might actually finish off his head. It's kind of hard to say. You are in a great spot to attack the abdomen for 11 to 20 damage. So we'll confirm that. And then once the swipe has been done, I need you to evac before you get hit. And so just do a jump out that way. And then press fin. I kind of want to keep messing with this guy's tail, so he doesn't officially land till right there. Okay. I'm going to go up like that, and we're going to keep attacking the tail. There's the tail hit right there. All right, and that's our next turn. 12 damage to the gut right there. You love to see it. This guy's getting messed up, and I love the battle damage that the enemy bosses take, like, as you're working your way through. So he missed his claw swipe. He actually has not really used any of his crazy abilities yet. So those rocks, you don't want to get hit by those rocks. That's bad. So he's going to come up from underground right there and cause a problem. So, Reyna, you're up first. He's gonna dig. I don't know if I can get that jump off in time. And even if I do get that jump off in time, the rocks that he throws into the air may be a problem. So we may want Reyna to hang tight for a second. Yeah, let's play it safe with Reyna, I think. Yeah, we're going to play it safe with Reyna, and she's not going to do anything on this turn. Over on this side with Zayden, we need to get him out of the way of that ability right there. Oh, it's following him. Okay. So we're going to need to time this right. If I jump up, he gets hit by a rock right there. How so? Oh, because he comes out of the wall. Okay, then. So what we may want to do is just launch ourselves away from, like, the area of damage. And then right about here, if I confirm that, he's going to smack a rock. I need that rock to get destroyed. We'll confirm that, which will hopefully save my archer. We're just going to focus on evasion for right now. What do you have going on? That's a safe move? Okay. We'll do the safe move. Oop, that's too far forward. Let's go back. And I would like to start moving at the start of the timeline, actually. So if he's going to dig down in, he's going pretty fast on that one. The head is already broken. The body is almost broken. Okay, move forward from right there. And then once I get to that point in the timeline, you also move forward. And that's just going to be our turn for right now. It's a good idea a lot of the time to just sort of, like, relax with your turn. Okay, so where is this? Oh, he came out of the wall over there. Problematic. What's he going to do coming out of the wall? We have no hits or anything on track. So, Reyna, I don't know if you can make that jump, but I would like for you to try. Because if it gets you to his neck part, it does get her to his neck part. All right. So right around the time it lines up with the neck, smash that thing. Good job. All right. That's your turn. Is that a miss? I don't see any damage being recorded. That might be a miss. I might be a little too high. Although I suppose I could go for the body, too. The body's got a lot of damage on it. Where's she going to land over here? Is she going to land inside range? I don't think she is. We'll just stick with our initial idea, which was to stab the neck. Okay, so the neck is getting stabbed right there. Zayden with your arrows. If I could get him up to a critical hit spot, that'd just be incredible. So Zayden finishes off his land right there. If I jump to there, it looks like Zayden's safe, so we'll confirm it. And with him over the crit spot, we're going to fire on the neck. These two are at risk right now. What's he going to do right there? Oh, he's going to eat my pikeman. Okay. That's going to be an issue. A lot of the bosses in this game have like a crowd control where they cocoon or they eat or they like encase one of your guys in stone or something like that. And so we've got to watch out for it. With that tongue coming out, though, we have opportunities. I don't think I can hit... Well, maybe. If I can angle that jump right there, we may be able to get the tail. Yeah, we can. Okay. Angle that jump. We'll go in. There's the tail right there. And this should be a tail break. Why is that a miss? That should not be a miss. Strange. I don't know why that's missing right there. But we'll have to figure it out. You jump like so. I'm going to confirm it. And while you're in the air, if you could just put a little bit of damage on his old necky bits, that'd probably be good. Yeah, let's smack his neck real quick. There we go, and that's going to be our turn, I think. So off, and away we go. Everybody's flying through the air, having a great time. It did count. I was going to say, it said miss or something like that, so she got swallowed. He got 3 damage off, but this guy should be on 1 HP, so he should be about to go down. It all happened so suddenly. The Dark Star vanished, and Reyna felt their arms and legs grinding against a coarse surface covered in slimy, caustic film. Foul, acidic smell of the Maltagore's gastric juices reached their mouth and nose. Every second was worth its weight in gold. What should they do? Preserve oxygen and wait for their fellow hunters to set them free? Wiggle their way out? Attack the beast from the inside? Or, we'll try to crawl out, although I've used up all my rerolls. So this might backfire on me. Hey, there we go. We should be out of here. Grabbing onto protruding tumors, Reyna keeps crawling higher and higher up the Maltagore's neck. With each second, the sounds of the battle keep getting clearer, when finally they notice a faint light seething through the beast's sharp teeth. With a swift jump, the hunter manages to jump right in front of its uvula and crawl down the slimy tongue once again to bask in the rays of the Dark Star. Okay, so he's going to have to upchuck her. He has no choice. That's going to eat up a chunk of his turn. I need to kill off 2 more body parts, and I need to do it effectively. Luckily, Zayden is still up. Let's go for a strong jump that takes us up to there. And we'll confirm that since he has no attack on this turn due to being forced to vomit. I need more damage to keep going to the neck. From there, we have an AP we can use on this side. The torso is a little scuffed, so maybe just keep working on the torso. Can you hit that from right there? Yeah, get the torso for how much damage? 3 to 5. Go ahead and confirm it. And then I think I'll do something similar with my sword guy right there. We'll have him jump in. And after having jumped in, we will also attack the torso again for 9 to 9 damage. Hell yeah, let's go. Okay, that should be our turn, so we should be good. Is it dead? I need it to be dead. It's got 1 HP left and it's not dead yet. Okay, what's he gonna do on this turn? Let's watch the timeline. A stomp and a scratch. Okay, let's get Zayden free then. Zayden is obviously going to have to jump. And I think if Zayden... I'm going to have to set up a defensive turn right here just because what I like to do is when I know I've got the win and I've clinched it, I usually just set up one person's actions to finish the fight. But since we've got to avoid damage here, I got to go through with it. So we got to do an entire turn right here. That should be the kill on the neck right there. Should be. But we should set up a backup plan just in case. Reyna, you're right there. Let's go back. You're going to jump in. Upon jumping in, we're going to confirm it. You're going to stab the neck right there. Well, hopefully we get the kill right there. I don't know if these guys are going to have time to jump to safety. He has time to jump to safety, so we'll give it a go. Just to get the hell out. And then I need something similar from you, so you jump out as well. But if you're gonna jump out, you might as well jump out with some conviction, right? And we'll just get overlapping fields of smacking this guy in the neck just to make sure that he dies. Because if he doesn't die, we're gonna take damage on this next turn. And you don't want to take damage in this game. It's very bad for your health. Alright, so there we go. That should be the kill. Hey, and we've killed ourselves our first Maltagore. Hell yeah. And if you want, you can watch the replay of the fight right here, which actually looks super dynamic once it's all said and done. Characters running around doing their own things. I don't normally like watching replays like this in turn-based games, but in this game, I have obsessively watched every single replay that I've gone through in the last 2 or 3 hours of playing the game, just so I can see how the action kind of unfolds. Not too bad. we got ourselves a victory, and we got ourselves a victory without taking any damage, too. At the end of fights, you're going to get equipment, you're going to get monster parts, you're going to get things that help you build up the village, and so let's go back and get those things upgraded. Everybody levels up, so based on the number of fights that your hunters have been in and succeeded at, they will level up. They get a randomized perk depending on what their path is, I think. So she's got the Path of the Protector, which I think gives her 2 extra armor by default. There's also Path of the Wind, and there's some other stuff, but I do wish you could re-roll this one time, because sometimes you don't get anything in here that really, like, goes along with the build that you're trying to do. However, a spearman being able to double jump is pretty good, so we'll try that out. Being able to jump out of the air might be good. We've got our archer over here. After being incapacitated in battle, immediately receives a wound and continues fighting. That's pretty good, because you take a wound anyways for getting knocked out. You see this little diagram right here? The game has positional damage, so you get wounds on different part of your body, your head, your chest, your hands, your legs, your feet. And if you have a wound, there will be a red slash over the icon over here, and that's how you know who you have to heal up. We also have Helene. Helene leveled up, and we've got regeneration. Heal 1 random wound every year, plus 1 luck every time you heal a wound. Ooh, that's pretty good, if you can plan that right. Plus 1 mox whenever this character participates in events in hunt or fight. Okay, let's go with plus 1 evade for each level of mox. Because evade has a chance of you just not getting hit by an attack even when you clearly get hit by it with the hitboxes. And mox is what you use to reroll your dice inside of dungeons. And so if I can get her some mox points, her getting an evasion for every single mox that we get her is actually pretty good. And so I'll take that. We also have some gloves over here, and these are really good gloves too. These are nice gloves. And so they give plus 1 to strength. We'll probably want to put that on him, I think. It'll help him hit harder. He'll have a little bit lower of armor, but he'll hit harder. And your armor does show up on your characters. There's all kinds of armor sets and stuff like that, all of something like Monster Hunter. They all have set bonuses. They all have things that they're good at and things that they're good for. For right now, most of the sets that I've seen just give you more HP, or they give you like a thing that you can do in combat when certain criteria are fulfilled that can be very, very useful. The perfect example is the bow that I'm about to build for Zayden. Zayden can get a bow that if he takes a shot while on top of one of those critical zones, he gets his AP back and he can attack again. Oh, it's so good, dude. It's so good. So for him, we've got get strength for missing armor at the beginning of the turn, inspires anyone close to them. I don't know what that means. Gain 2 strength and 2 speed when no hunter is nearby, but you lose stats if people are near. Let's try leader. Maybe the buff will end up being useful. We also have some extra people over here. If we have extra equipment or whatever, I would throw it on them, but since we didn't take any wounds, we should be solid. Your characters do accumulate traits. They do get random things that happen to them. Your characters can get pregnant. Fair warning, this game is very, very R-rated. Not anything that you're actually going to see in the... Well, I mean, I guess a lot of the monsters are bearing boobies and all that kind of stuff. Like, we did just get done fighting a giant pissed-off naked titty rat. So, like, that's not what I'm talking about, though. There are definitely, like, sexual encounters inside of this game where they've leaned into that darkest dungeon sort of disgusting, like, it's sort of hard to describe. It's like someone's gone out of their way to make sexual activity as unappealing and disgusting as possible. Like, you know the smutty books that are kind of like in the magazine aisle at the Rayleighs that your grandma reads that always have like a shirtless, hairy-chested dude on them wearing like some leather pants or something? It's kind of like that. So, you know, brace yourself for it. I mean, there's a building in the town that just sits there and moans when you open it up, all right? It's the way the game goes. From there, we need to go to the Silt Shack. We've got a couple of obsidian scraps that will allow us to upgrade things, and I would recommend that we do that. But the first thing that we should upgrade should be the Garden of Earthly Delights, I think, because that gives us access to rejuvenation, which allows you to trade blood for getting rid of your wounds, I think. And wounds can stack up. Like, one bad turn can give you a bunch of wounds. A bad event can give you a bunch of wounds, so having access to this is a good idea. The training grounds, they will allow us to train our characters and make them stronger. However, they won't be available till next year. And so just keep that in mind. They're not going to be available until that time comes. And so I'll probably take these 2 individuals right here and just have them train inside of here, because it says it's going to give them mox and intellect. And so in pursuit of their self-improvement, Rudd delves into scholarly pursuits, immersing themselves in the intellectual endeavors such as studying ancient texts, attending lectures, and seeking out mentors to expand their understanding of various fields. There you go. So this character, if we take him on an adventure, has 1 extra reroll for events, and this person has an extra +1 that they can add to an event. This number right here is distinct from these pips next to it. The number that you have right here will increase a stat randomly, I think. And then also there's certain events that require a certain level of intellect or moxie in order to get through, and it'll help out with those dice rolls by giving you modifiers and things too. From there, I need to upgrade something. Let's upgrade this hut. It doesn't look like it gave us anything new right there, but that's because recipes are unlocked by you doing achievements. So your city has aspirations that they're trying to fulfill here. As you do any of this stuff right here, you will unlock new metagame progression that goes along. So like, let's say that we did bonding experience, so we slotted hunters with 2 different life paths. There's blade expertise right there that we did. And this unlocked a new slashing weapon, I guess, for going through there. And then we also unlocked bonds that we get in between our characters that give them, you see right here, like for your combination of characters going out, they now have extra mox and extra int to use inside of events, so that's good. But I probably should have used the upgrade on this building. What we can do, though, I can't make a crimson bow, which is what I wanted to make. I need another ostium for that. And so without that ostium, this bow right here is really, really nice. I like this bow. However, I could make an axe, or I could make a hammer. The hammer is especially fun because if you're in the air, when you swing the hammer and hit something, it like bounces you off. And the entire playstyle for hammer characters is to stay in the air and keep bouncing like a pinball off of different parts. And they get more and more and more and more damage. Like the more that they do, it's kind of interesting. Like there's some fun gameplay ideas inside of here. You can also make consumables that you can equip on characters that increase their stats, make them hit harder, make them move faster on the map, allow them to fix their armor in combat. That kind of stuff, so that you don't get one-shotted after your armor goes down. For now, though, I don't think anybody has shoes. So I think shoes are probably a really good investment for right now. How many shoes can I make? I can only make 1 shoe because it takes an ostium. That's kind of unfortunate. I'm not, like, massively a fan of that. I do need another chest piece, and I will make some pants for both of my characters that are kind of, like, sitting on the sideline right now. I will give the boots to one of my spears because spears tend to be in the thick of it more than everybody else. And she should have a lot of toughness now. Yeah, because she's got the set bonus right there. From there, there's not really too much to do except go back in for another attack. You do get modified bosses as well, so the bosses come in different flavors. There's not a ton of bosses that I've seen in the last couple hours. I think there's like 4 or 5 that I've seen in the current build of Early Access. But these modifiers make things more interesting. And so modifiers can make it so that like you're fighting in a thunderstorm. I had one modifier where all of my characters had 0 armor, meaning they get one-shotted the first time they take damage and die instantly. But the enemy, the boss, started with half HP. And so I've never seen this guy, so let's see if we can give him a go. We'll move down the ruins right here. But thus far, I've been really, really pleased with this game. This is actually a really entertaining, unique RPG. Like, it takes some of the ideas from Phantom Brigade, but Phantom Brigade had a cool combat system, but it really, really suffered from not having a lot of progression systems and not having enough variety of loot to keep the game fresh and interesting all the way through the campaign. This game's early access seems a lot better thought out in that regard, where there's very clear progression paths for each character to make them stronger. There's very clear conflicts through wounds and traumas and everything else that keep you thinking about, like, do I want to take this person into combat or not? You've got the constant crafting of new gear, which it seems to be a decent variety of it. And so as of right now, I'm actually really happy with Tarnished Blood. It's early on for an early access, but this is very, very promising. Like, I can't say that I've ever seen anything quite like it, except for Phantom Brigade. But Phantom Brigade released in such a rough state that, like, this early access feels like a much better jumping point for the idea that Phantom Brigade was playing around with, and also the vertical element of being in the air and being able to attach to surfaces and stick to walls and launch off and spear something. It leads to very cool cinematic moments, and so I've been enjoying this game quite a bit. It does have a little bit of a difficulty curve that you're going to have to figure out. This is a very hard game. It is quite difficult. If you get smashed going into this game on your first couple challenges, just, you know, make a new game and start over and go after it again. Eventually, it'll click. The overall layout of the game, it'll click for you, and you'll start to think in terms of the timeline, and you'll start to think in terms of potential liabilities that exist near the beginning and the end of timelines, so that your turn sort of terminates at a good spot so that you can react to the next bad thing to happen. But so far, I like this. I think this is really, really good. I don't really have too many complaints about it, other than I don't really like the character portraits and like the character art. It's a little animated out for me, and I'm not a big fan of anime, but like, oh boy, what is this guy? Did the Star Child? I don't even know what this thing does. I haven't seen this boss. I fought a couple of the bosses, but I haven't seen this one. Is anything gonna happen on this timeline? Okay, so there's magic orbs flying around everywhere. Gotcha. So that goes around over to there. I would almost suggest just kind of staying on the ground. What is that thing? So that thing's flying off screen too. Oh, buddy. Are you gonna get hit by anything if I do this? Let me adjust the angle of it a little bit, just to get it a little bit closer to where I want to be. And hopefully that thing doesn't come back. I'll confirm it right there. Let's set up his time. It came back. Can I shoot it? Yeah, go ahead and destroy it, because I don't know what it's going to do if I don't destroy it. These bosses very much turn into almost like raid bosses from what I've seen. If I launch out right there, are you going to get hit by anything, or are you going to shoot the gap? There's going to be... Oh, I'm in the wrong spot on the timeline. Hold on, let's go back. If I strong jump out right there, is anything terrible going to happen? Oh, there's gravitational anomalies. Oh, okay, so this thing manipulates gravity too. We're not coming back down to the ground the way that I expected. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to plot and plan around. There's gonna be something that punishes on the walls too, isn't there? I think that'll work. So you launch. Oh, there's portals. Oh, okay, that makes sense. All right, just smack the arm then on your way by. It says that's going to be a miss, but whatever. So those are portals that teleport you over to the other side. Some very, very interesting creative ideas that they're playing around with in this title. Where am I at on the timeline? So that's rotating that way. What are your chances of shooting that gap right there and making it to that arm? She's gonna rise up right there. Let's go 11 to 14 on that side and confirm it. And that leaves my sword guy. What is that thing? Okay, so sword guy, you sort of like just jump up and smack that hand, I guess. And then just kind of like land near the coochie. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta do what you gotta do in this life. Confirm that. And when you're right there, smack that arm. Smacking the arm is gonna make something happen. Okay, well, I guess I'll learn on the fly. So hitting the arm. Oh, gotcha. Does he at least get the swing off? I don't know if he gets the swing off. Let's find out. He does get the swing off. And we killed one arm right there, so we've already got the boss down to 1 HP. What's this thing gonna do? That soundtrack, though. Okay, so it's gonna shoot a bunch of star shards at me. but it looks like you get iframes after you get hit. Reyna. Since you're not going to be able to do much on this turn anyways, just fire a shot that way and deal damage. He's going to spend most of his turn coming down from the high heights that he's at. Reyna, she's over here in the corner. Is that arm shredded? I would like the ability to mouse over each of these, and it highlights the body part that you're moused over, or it draws a line with an arrow or something like that. But I think the glow would be a little bit more elegant. But this is very cool stuff. I like this a lot. And so we'll see what happens with it as time goes along in early access. For right now, this is a really, really cool idea. I dig it a ton. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we were messing around with Tarnished Blood. Tomorrow we'll be playing around with something else. Thanks for spending your time with me, and I will see you all later. Bye, folks.